Hello and welcome to Part of the People with me, Graeme Pryce. I haven't got a script for this video. I haven't even got notes written. I've just literally decided to jump on and say a few things. Thought about going live to do it, but I'm still not very comfortable with the whole going live thing. I need a better camera, I think, before I can do that. But I was watching Super Tansky's stream earlier on, and halfway through I heard the news that Charlie Kirk had been shot. Apparently, he was in the middle of a anti-trans speech when it happened to him. He's been shot in the neck and he's lost a huge amount of blood. And I've heard some rumours that he's already dead, but I can't confirm them. And I wouldn't wish that on him. I think he's an idiot and a grifter and a far-right dickhead. But I wouldn't wish the man dead. I can't say that he's said very much that I agree with, but I don't think he's a monster in the same way as some people are, like Trump or Farage or Netanyahu or that prick who's the president of Belarus. Yeah, or, you know, that type of person. I'm shocked, but I'm not actually that surprised, because I feel that the whole world is being pushed further and further right, and people are going to stand up to it. And there are madmen on the right and the left, and there must be people on the left that, well, in some ways, I'm certainly not going to go and start shooting people, but in some ways, I'm one of the people on the left that is just looking at what is going on in the world, and I'm like, how can people be okay with this? This continual drift? Have we learned nothing from the Second World War? Have we learned nothing from the fascists of the 30s and the 40s? Have we learned nothing about history? You know, the world is just becoming... less than 100 years after World War II, we're becoming a whole new world of fascist ideology and far-right stupidity. So I'm really not surprised that somebody has snapped and stood up and thought, I'm going to do something about this. After Trump took office, I went away and did a little bit of research, and I found out that there are 360 million people in America, and there are over 300 million guns in America. Not 3 million, not 30 million, 300 million. Now, of course, there will be people who own multiple guns, and that will also include all of the firearms that are owned by police and, you know, armed forces and things. So, you know, it's not an exactly accurate figure, but I have spent a lot of time wondering how come nobody has stood up and used any of those weapons to stop the march of fascism that seems to be happening in the Western world. I hope that Charlie Kirk isn't dead. I really do. I hope that he isn't. I hope that he pulls through and maybe learns something from it and goes on to change his views and realise that this is the straw that's broken the camel's back for him, and he sees that it isn't time to drift further and further towards the right. It isn't time to start pretending that the Nazis had a point. It isn't time to start thinking that maybe Mussolini wasn't wrong after all. Of course he was. I'm quite shocked. I do hope he pulls through. And I know this video, I'm meandering a bit here. I'm rambling to some degree. It shows what I'm like, but I don't have a script. But really, what a shocking thing to happen. What an absolutely shocking thing to happen. I feel bad saying this, but I think it's time that America stood up for itself. The Second Amendment says that they have to keep the right to bear arms so that they can stand up against a tyrannical government. They've had one. They've had one since January. They've got the most tyrannical government America has ever seen. And do you know what else I think? And if you want to attack me in the comments for this, then you go ahead, because I read them all and I will reply to anybody who says something relatively politely. I'm surprised that it hasn't happened to Trump. I can't believe that nobody's succeeded in assassinating Donald Trump. And if you're going to go out there and shoot someone, get caught, and then save the time for it, why would you do it to Charlie Kirk and not Donald Trump? I think we all know who deserves it more. Charlie Kirk's an idiot, a grifter, a far-right knobhead who has got too much to say for himself and comes out with things that are just designed to agitate and to bring people into a foolish view, whereas Trump actually has the ability to change things. Imagine how different the world would be if we woke up tomorrow morning and Trump didn't exist anymore. I'd imagine he's a lot more difficult to get near. Although when he did a little walkabout a few days ago, and he was so close to all just the actual public. If any of them would have had a gun. Anyway, living in a fantasy world there, aren't I? Maybe it's things I shouldn't be saying. Who knows? But I won't let anybody tell me what I can and can't say. And what I will say about this is, I'm not surprised that somebody has shot Charlie Kirk, because he's a horrible dickhead who is just out there saying the most agitative and far-right idiotic things he can in order to try and legitimise Donald Trump. And Donald Trump can't be legitimised. He's a fascist. America has fallen to a fascist. It's become a fascist dictatorship. But I don't think the man deserves to die for it. This has gone on a little bit longer than I actually wanted it to. I'm not going to, add all the little usual flares of things and that. But I will say, if you want to support the channel, then there's PayPal, Patreon, in the description box. And that isn't all I have to say, but it's as much as I'm going to say for today. Bloody hell. Ta-ra.